Welcome, students, to the Great Word Library. I'm Professor Quill, and I've got to tell you, I am absolutely thrilled to be your guide for today's magical explainer. We're about to unlock the secrets of one of the most powerful, expansive root families in the entire English language. Seriously, if you're a spelling bee student, a total etymology enthusiast, or just someone who loves understanding how words are built block by block, you are in the exact right place. Okay, let's dive right into this.
So imagine I just hand you these 6 words: describe, prescription, manuscript, inscription, subscribe, and transcript. At first glance, yeah, they probably just look like a totally random vocabulary list you'd have to memorize for a test. But what if I told you that these 6 words are actually close relatives? It's true. They are all glowing fruits on the exact same giant word family tree. And here's the best part. If you learn the secret to this one single family, you aren't just learning these 6 words. You're going to unlock the spelling and the meaning of dozens of advanced spelling bee words all at once.
To find that secret, we actually have to travel underground right down to the glowing root system. So over 2,000 years ago, the Romans spoke Latin. And in Latin, they had this very specific, very important verb, scribere. S-C-R-I-B-R-E. For the ancient Roman scribes working tirelessly on their scrolls, scribere meant simply to write. And as the English language developed and started borrowing words from Latin, this ancient root survived, bringing that core concept of writing right into our modern dictionaries.
Now, what's totally fascinating is how that ancient root actually split into 2 twin forms when it made its way into English. We have scrib and we have script. Both forms carry the exact same core DNA, writing, but they have slightly different jobs. Scrib generally shows up in words connected to the actual action of writing. Script, on the other hand, often pops up in words connected to the written thing itself. So whenever your spelling bee brain sees either of these twins, you should immediately think, this word definitely has something to do with writing.
Let's kick things off with the scrib branch of the family, using a word literally all of us know: scribble. Picture a toddler just going to town with a handful of crayons, making an absolute mess on the living room wall. That careless, quick, messy writing is a scribble. But grab your word detective magnifying glasses for a second and notice the spelling. It is spelled S-C-R-I-B-B-L-E. It uses that scrib root, not script. You are never going to spell it with a P. The original root stays perfectly intact.
All right, let's use a little bit of prefix math to break down our first major set of scrib words. Take the word describe. Originally, it meant to write down an account of something, like if I asked you to describe your favorite animal. Next up is inscribe, which simply means to write in or on something. An author might inscribe a book for you, or a king might inscribe words onto a giant stone monument. Then we have prescribe. Well, pre means before, so a doctor writing out your medical instructions beforehand is prescribing medicine. Finally, subscribe. Sub means under. Long ago, to subscribe literally meant to sign your name underneath a document. Today, obviously, you subscribe to a magazine or a YouTube channel, but that historical root of writing underneath, it is still right there.
And this brilliantly shows how we can tackle highly advanced spelling bee words too. Let's take ascribe. It means to attribute something to a cause. For example, scientists might ascribe a specific weather result to climate conditions. Or take the absolutely fantastic word circumscribe. Think C-I-R-C-U-M, which means around. Originally, this meant to literally write or draw a line around something. And over time, drawing a line around something naturally evolved into its modern meaning to set a boundary, to limit, or to restrict something. Okay, let's jump over to the other branch of our family tree, script. A script is literally just the writing itself. It's what actors read for a play or directors use for a movie. But think about the word manuscript. This is an absolutely crucial word for spelling competitors. Manu is the Latin root for hand, and script means written. So a manuscript literally means written by hand. Think about life before computers or printing presses were even a thing. Every single book had to be painstakingly copied out by hand. Those historical documents are manuscripts.
Let's keep going with 2 more fascinating script words. Trans means across, giving us the word transcript, which is a written copy or record. You might have a school transcript for your grades, a court reporter types up a trial transcript, and journalists make interview transcripts to keep a record of spoken conversations. And then there's postscript. Post means after. So a postscript is writing added after a letter ends. Have you ever written a letter and quickly jotted down P.S. at the bottom? Well, surprise!
PS literally stands for Postscript.
Let's add two more heavy hitters to our detective notebooks. Scripture refers to sacred or religious writings, and scribal is an adjective relating to scribes or the act of writing itself. For instance, if someone who is copying a text makes a little mistake, historians will actually call that a scribal error. Notice how, no matter how the word changes its ending, that core DNA idea of writing always remains completely intact.
Now let's move on and see how this builds your overall spelling strategy. Because champion spellers don't just blindly memorize long words, no way. They use what I like to call prefix power. They assemble these words block by block. If you know that IN means in or on, PRE means before, SUB means under, TRANCS means across, post means after, and circum means around, you can just attach these directly to scrib or script. Boom! You instantly know both the spelling and the exact meaning of the word without ever having to memorize the dictionary.
All right, lean in close for this one. I am about to reveal the absolute most important discovery in today's explainer. There is a magical spelling transformation pattern hidden right inside this family. Understanding this one specific pattern gives informed spellers a massive, almost unfair competitive advantage when they step up to the microphone. The pattern is the transformation from scrib to script. Let's walk through exactly how this works.
Here is the first magical transformation. We take the verb, the action of writing an account, describe. When we turn that action into a noun, the thing itself, the scrib changes to a script ending. Describe becomes description. The B entirely vanishes and a P and T step right in to take its place. Scrib becomes script.
Look, it happens again right here. A doctor will prescribe your medicine. That's the action of writing it beforehand. But the physical piece of paper they hand you, the written medical instructions themselves, that is the prescription. Prescribe transforms into prescription. Scrib becomes script.
And let's look at one you definitely use online all the time. You click that button to subscribe to a service, joining it by figuratively signing underneath. That action turns into an arrangement to receive that service regularly, a subscription. Subscribe becomes subscription. The pattern is completely consistent every single time.
Let's rapidly fire through the rest of this pattern to completely solidify your mastery of elite vocabulary. Inscribe becomes inscription. Transcribe becomes transcription, and the super advanced word circumscribe becomes circumscription, meaning a boundary or a limitation. If you know this scrib to script rule, you can predict the spellings of incredibly complex words accurately. You won't even have to second-guess yourself.
All right, detectives, it is time for the Spelling Bee Challenge. Let's test your brand new root skills. I'll ask a question and you shout out the answer. Question 1. Which word from our family means written by hand? I'll give you a second to think. Did you remember the Latin word for hand? Yep, it's manuscript. Let's try the second challenge. Which word means writing added after a letter ends? Think about those two little letters you always put at the bottom of a note to your friend. Got it? Yes, the abbreviation PS stands for postscript. Post means after, script means writing. Challenge number 3. Which word means a written copy? Think about the prefix that means across. It's the record of your grades or maybe a typed-up court case. You got it? It is a transcript. Here is your fourth question. Which word means to write on a surface? Think of an author signing a book for you, or an artist carving their name right into a stone sculpture. You write in or on it. The answer is Inscribe. And our final challenge question. Which word means careless writing? Remember the baby making a total mess with the crayons on the wall? And remember that really tricky double B spelling we talked about? The answer is Scribble. Remember, S-C-R-I-B-B-L-E. Absolutely excellent work. To wrap up our lesson, I want to give you Professor Quill's ultimate 4-step strategic playbook. When you are standing on that stage and you encounter a completely unfamiliar word, I want you to ask yourself these 4 things with clear authority. 1. Do you hear scrib, script, or scription? 2. Is there a recognizable prefix attached, like in, pre, sub, trans, post, or circum? 3. Does the definition they give you relate to writing? And 4. Does it follow the magical scrib to script transformation pattern? Asking these questions replaces sheer panic with pure logic. So the crucial point is this massive final takeaway rule. This is the one thing you must remember, because it's going to forever change how you look at this giant family tree of words.
Champion spellers do not memorize hundreds of unrelated words, they discover families. Whenever you see scrib, scribe, script, or scription, your brain should immediately think writing. That is the secret, hiding right there inside the word.
You have just mastered one of the absolute most important root families in English etymology. You've learned exactly how to scribe, scribble, inscribe, prescribe, subscribe, manuscript, and scripture all tie back to ancient Roman scrolls. It's pretty amazing, right? But the English language is vast, and our library has so many more wings to explore. So, now that you've completely unlocked the secret of the writing root, which massive word family will you discover next in the great word library? Keep questioning, keep spelling, and I will see you in our next explainer.